these people are no longer with us, and for me, this is what we need to hear, the original sources.
And for years, I collected documents here at the White House, which talked about mutilations. We know about them. We made the decision that crop circles were nothing else, I guess, but integrated circuits, and we put them in an integrated circuit. They would give us a message. Abductions, we came to the conclusion they're happening. But we're not going to do anything about it, even start any projects, whether it's true or not. But we were receiving material, so I did get 2 of the implants. The implants are real.
Poor woman, she's trying to deal with this. And this is from taking my movie part of it. And I'm so glad I captured what you said here.
I want to move it to the action phase. You came here to ask us to do something, and we got to know how, what, and why. Haven't got there yet. Maybe by Friday or next month, or as we move this over the next couple of years, we'll get closer than you've got in 30 years, and you're to be commended. What you have unveiled is something is there, that we're not alone. I'm still learning. I want to learn more about that, in fact. But as I learn it, the existence as we know it is being jeopardized. It may not exist next week, let alone 30 more years.
To go before these Congress people and tell it like it is, and to see the look of shock on their faces, and then they have to do something. This is the problem with the UFO phenomenon. If you digest it, it changes your life, and people do not want their lives changed. I'm telling you this. This is why you get the people not understanding this. When I went to Italy, I spoke in Torino, in Turin, where the Olympics were, and I got visited by this gentleman, Mario Borghesio, of the European Parliament. And he had read my books, and he said, I got to speak to you. He said, I am a member of the EU, and I want to open the UFO question up. I need your help because everybody's laughing at me. And I said, I don't know what I could do for you. The only thing I could do is give you a list of all the military people that I've interviewed that they're serious, even the ones in Italy, because I helped Stephen Greer with the Disclosure Project with Italian witnesses. So I said, I'll bring you serious people. You go to the UN, the European EU, and see if they'll even talk about it. They don't have to do anything but talk about it. Dialogue without laughing, because it's a matter of national security also. I can't do this story yet because it's the most dangerous story I've ever done in my life, but someday I'm going to write a book about Dr. Michael Wolff-Cruant, Catchers of Heaven. You can't even get that book anymore. I was the only journalist that did that story. It took me 2 years of solid phone calls every week with Dr. Wolff, and he was in Hartford, Connecticut. On the right-hand side is Milton Torres. He's in one of my books. He's a pilot. In 1957, he was stationed in England. He was asked to shoot down a UFO, the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard of. He was ordered to go up there. He locked onto the craft. He was very nervous because he knew what it was. He asked for the codes a second time. He said, give me the codes, so I'm going to do this, but give me the codes. Then the thing disappears from his view. He comes down, he's told never to talk about it. He's an American military man. The only way he can talk about it years later, and Milton Torres is now in a coma, the only way he can talk about it is because it came out in the British files. And his name happened to be there. So there's your national security code thing. He can talk. I interviewed him in Washington. I went up to him and I said, Milton, will you give me an interview? I said, tell me, is this burden of truth heavy on you? He said, he started to cry. He said, my father died 4 years ago. I really wanted to tell him. If you don't think that's serious, he said, I really want to tell him I saw a UFO, but he died 4 years ago. Just because it came out in the British files, he could talk about it. This burden of truth with these military people that have taken an oath is too heavy on them and their families. Clifford Stone was part of the Disclosure Project. I've known him for over 9 years. He lives in Roswell. His job as a very young boy, entered the Army at 16 years old, on purpose invited because he was a contactee. They knew he was talking to aliens when he was a little boy. So they said, okay, aliens don't speak French, Chinese, they don't go to school, do this. They talk one way. ESP, direct thought transfer in your head. This guy already knows that. So we're going to bring him into the Army. He's going to clean up, or he's going to do crash retrieval. Did Clifford Stone know this? No. I went into Indiantown Gap, Pennsylvania in 1969. Thought I was looking at an airplane. It was half of it is in a mountain. It's not an airplane. Can I have an officer down here? He's yelling. Can I have an officer down here? This isn't an airplane. They said, son, just go up to it and tell us what you see. All by himself. 18 years old. Because they knew that he could communicate what was in there. He was freaked out. The 4 beings were grays. They were dead. 2 were hanging out the side. When he talks about it, he gets very emotional because he did retrieve some craft with live aliens. Do we realize that if we ever have real contact and they decide to land here, there is nobody to go up to them? There's no way that we have any protocols. There is no diplomacy. There is nothing written. We don't know what we're doing. And that somebody should be doing this maybe in the United Nations because it's a global situation. But guess who's interested? This is Saudi Arabia, an economic conference. Everybody that went there got a really hefty honorarium, and the ticket to go to this thing was $5,000. To go, just to go. What are they doing with Stanton Friedman, Nick Pope, Jacques Vallée, and Michio Kaku at an international economic conference? And God bless him, Stanton stood up and he said, UFOs are real. Sorry. UFOs are an economic situation because they do not use gas and oil. They knew about ETs then, and they knew that the atomic bomb had opened up Pandora's box. These craft are not on vacation. And that period of time in New Mexico is so important because you're wondering why they're visiting. Not all of them are the same. Colonel Corso and Cliff told me there are 57 different kinds of beings recorded in the Pentagon. Vatican comes out. Father Funes, Argentinian priest, he says 3 things. Number 1, it's not against Catholic religion to believe in UFOs. Number 2, he says, they are your brother and sister. I don't think he's talking about only the gray beings, okay? They are your brother and sister. And the third one, which blew me out of the water because it's dogma, he says Jesus didn't need to die for them because they weren't born with original sin. Now, why would the Vatican say that? They didn't have to do that. What are they afraid of is going to happen? And they have to position themselves in the structure. So this is real. And by the way, this is not gossip. If you want to go online for the people who want to do a research paper, it's in the Osservatore Romano, which is the official Vatican newspaper.